Well, for a lot of diners, going out for a good meal is a nice treat, right? But you know what's not so nice? Finding yourself sick the next day. The Conference Board of Canada is recommending a number of measures for people working in restaurants and other food service industries. So what precautions should we be taking in handling our own food? Well, we're going to put that question to our Dr. Karl Kabasele. He's here to talk about how not to get sick from our own culinary adventures. But let's start with the report from the Commerce Group. It's like, should we be panicking if we go to a restaurant?
I don't think so. I mean, at the end of the day, this report can serve as a way of just reminding us and reminding people in the food industry that it's so important to continuously and continually improve our food safety approach. And thankfully, people in the food industry do follow a very strict guideline called HACCP, which stands for the Hazard Analysis and Critical Control Points. And that's sort of every step along the way of food, from the field to the fork, as they say, every step of food processing and preparation, there are key things to look for to prevent foodborne illness and chemical contamination.
How common is food poisoning?
Well, it's hard to measure because most of the time it's not reported.
Right.
So, you may have, some bad eggs and you feel badly for one day and then you feel better the next day.
And you don't know if it's from the eggs.
And you don't know if it's from the eggs, it's from the restaurant you ate at the night before. And so it's not reported. We can't really gather that information. But what we do know is it's fairly common.
And it can make you pretty sick.
It can make you pretty sick, as we saw with some of the very serious outbreaks. Listeriosis, for example, can kill, can make people very sick and possibly kill them. But for the most part, you get a little bit of diarrhea, nausea, vomiting perhaps, and then you get better on your own. That's the vast majority of cases.
So this is making headlines today. What do you make of it, that we need to be more careful with our food?
Absolutely. So I think what we can take from it is, hopefully the food industry is doing their part, and then we should do our part. And that is simply following the principles of food safety. And it's the stuff that we always talk about, avoiding cross-contamination, in your kitchen when you're preparing food, washing and cooking your vegetables thoroughly, and any food basically that you're preparing. And when you're defrosting meat, for example, don't leave it on the counter. So these are just three sort of simple tips that we can talk about in terms of reducing the risk of food poisoning.
Yeah, some people might not know that. They might just, they want to defrost their meat faster,
Yep.
So you leave it room temperature, but you should actually put it in the fridge?
Well, that's right. There's this theoretical sort of thing we call the danger zone. So between 4 degrees Celsius, which your refrigerator should be at 4 degrees or below, and 60 degrees Celsius, between those two temperatures, there's what we call the danger zone. It's sort of room temperature. And at that temperature, bacteria can grow and multiply at a very fast rate to the point where there may be enough bacteria to cause you to be sick. So if you're going to defrost your meat, do it in the fridge if you have the time. If not, use your microwave oven or, do some sort of accelerated defrosting.
And then cross-contamination, maybe a different cutting board for meat and vegetables. But what if I cut meat and give it a good rinse and use it for vegetables? Not good?
I'm not happy with a rinse. I want to see a wash, a thorough wash. And ideally, especially if it's chicken or beef or something where you may have E. coli or salmonella, you want to sanitize that board. And you don't have to buy anything expensive, just water and so a liter of water, a teaspoon of bleach, and you've got a sanitizing solution that will kill most of the germs.
And this was interesting. I was talking to you earlier. I'm vegan. I thought I was free from E. coli, but vegetables you have to be really careful with too.
Well, unfortunately, yes, because we know E. coli and other bacteria live in the soil. So when you pull a potato out of the dirt, it's going to be covered potentially with bacteria. So you want to wash your vegetables and your fruits very carefully if you're going to eat them raw. And of course, cook them thoroughly if you're, that's just one way to really get rid of those microorganisms.
Yeah, it's good to know. Thank you, Dr. Karl.
Thank you.